Okay, so we have the Autel Nano Plus here. This one might be a little tricky, but this video is strictly going to be to show you how to replace the front left leg. It's going to be the same process pretty much for the front right leg. Your back legs are going to be easier because they do not have antennas. So here's your front leg, and you can see it has the antenna cable on it as well. That makes it a little bit harder just because you have to be able to get to where this connects. It connects in a different place than your other three wires connect. So for this, you have to take the top and the bottom off the quad, and that's what we're going to do now. This one, I don't know if it's going to be totally resolved when I get it all back together, because the customer, he marked this leg with a piece of tape, and he told me the motor started smoking on it. When you put the battery in and power it up, the drone will not even turn on. The battery starts flashing real fast. So hopefully we're just getting feedback from this bad motor, and it's shorting it out or just telling it, hey, something's not, a circuit's not being made here and it won't start. So we're going to go ahead and take it apart and replace this leg out, start it back up, and see if everything works. You can see there's all kinds of scratches. This baby's been through a little bit of hell, and it doesn't look like this cover's sitting on there right. It's real, you can see where it's kind of opened up right here on the side. And by the looks of these screw heads, I think somebody's already been inside this one, so maybe they already looked at it and decided, that's too much for me, I'm not going to attempt it. But I generally don't like when I'm working on a drone somebody's already been in. Not all these screws are going to come out till I take the cover off. Sometimes they stay behind. Once I pop the cover off, they'll fall out though. But yeah, I don't like to usually work on drones that somebody's already been in. I understand people try themselves, but sometimes the screws are stripped out. But anyhow, removing the top cover is real simple. I grab it right here, put my fingernails under these corners, and just kind of pry until it lifts. My screws fell out. And this popped out. It's a rubber washer. I know where that goes. So that tells me somebody's been in here, because that washer is goes underneath the board. Goes underneath here. So somebody has been in this quad and looked at it already. Alright, so here's where your wire runs, right here. These three wires are what I'm going to be resoldering, but I also have to take the bottom off to get to the antenna. The bottom, you have to be very careful when you remove it, but you're not going to be able to see the screw. There's a screw about right here underneath, and the only way to get to it is right through here. And I don't think you can see, maybe not, but I've got to unscrew that screw. You can push the GPS and the compass aside. They're just on dampeners. So it's okay that it's wiggling like that. And then use a magnetic screwdriver, because you want that screw to come out with your screwdriver, which mine's not. There we go. Okay. Put that aside. Oh, something else fell out. Black piece of plastic. So yeah, something's going on here. I'm not crazy about this, but now we have to remove these two back screws, and then we can take the cover off. And I'm going to show you how to do that cover. You got to be very careful. You can't just pull it right off. You have to unplug the sensors first. There's a cable that connects to all of your sensors. So what we do is we just lift the front and then we slide back a little bit and then we kind of tilt it to where I think the plug's on one of these sides and I can pop that plug off. So carefully, just don't pull it off. Slide it back a little bit here. And then the cable is broken. Normally you would get underneath here and you would pop this plug off where that cable's at, but that cable's broken and the antenna is already unhooked. Yeah, somebody made an attempt here, and I really would have liked to have known that that cable was broken, because I don't even know if I can get that part. Looks like the fan might be unplugged as well. Yeah, the fan is unplugged. Oh boy, what a mess, what a mess, what a mess. All right, I'm going to continue just doing what this video is all about, and that's replacing the leg. And here's the antenna cable for the leg. It runs underneath this tape. Get my tweezers, get that tape to lift up. This is frustrating because this drone might not ever work again if I can't get that cable. So there we go. Pull the antenna wire off here. It's glued to that cover, so the cover came with it. Cover came off awfully easy though. I feel like there's just been so much has been going on, the way that's dented. A lot of stuff has happened with this quad before it got to me, I think. So that cable is undone. I'm going to hook this cable back up where it belongs, which is right there. There we go. Snap. Okay, so that cable's in place. Oh, that's frustrating. Let me go ahead and just unplug this and get it out of the way. So normally I would have unplugged that and it would have been attached to this cover. All right. So there's our antenna. That's all we needed to do really, was just get to that antenna, but as you see, I have more work ahead of me. So the wires for that motor come underneath this glue here and then here. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to scrape away all that glue and this glue here, and then all I do is I just take my tweezers and I just kind of pull away at the glue. I loosen it all up and then pull it all off. But I'm going to pause the video here, and then we'll pick back up when I get all this glue off, because that can take some time. So you don't want to sit here and watch all that. Okay, so you can see I got the glue off of here and off of here. Now I can take my soldering iron, which I got to heat up. And we'll just undo these wires, then we'll unscrew this leg, take it off, and we'll put the new one on. Your new motor comes totally complete. You just need to put your props on after you replace the motor. Replace the leg. So soldering iron's all heated up now. Let's get a nice clean, shiny tip. Good and clean. And I'll get my tweezers so my big nubby fingers are out of your way. Just grab the wire, heat up the solder. I think you can see pretty good. It's real tiny. And all three wires are undone. And now we can take the leg off. You got 2 screws right here. Pull that joint, that spring joint out. And get underneath it and just get it to pop. Better to use a small screwdriver. Just kind of pry it up. And it popped. It's spring loaded. So when you put it back in, that's the tricky part. You gotta be able to get it to go back over. Since it's spring loaded, it's under a little bit of pressure there. Okay. And now the leg should just slide out. Let's get our wire here so we can feed it down through without hitting anything and doing more damage. And she's free. I don't see any shorts in the wire. I don't know what would have made it smoke. Maybe behind this insulation here. And nothing shorted out. So we'll find out. We will find out. So first, let's just concentrate on getting the antenna fed back in there. Put a little bend on it. Bring it in. Push it down through. There it is. So let's pull that down. Feed our wires in. Just like that. I want to get my wires all separated from the antenna. Make everything feed the way it's supposed to. Get these 2 wires here on the other side. Okay. Hold these separate. Pull the antenna down. There we go. Okay, so I'll leave that alone and get that joint put back in. That's the fun part. Let me try this. It's harder like this because this leg wants to push on it. But if you can close it, sometimes on certain models it's easier to put in. Okay, I'm gonna grab, do I have some needle nose here? No, and these are too big. I need to try to get that to spring over. You might not be able to see this, but what I'm going to do is put my screwdriver in it here. Let's bring another light over here, see if this helps any. Maybe that'll help. But I'm just trying to push that over as I push it down. It went down, but not all the way. Close enough. So I've got that down, and what I'm going to do is put screws back in there. Just get them started, and then I'll line it up. It's lining itself up. perfect. Just snug them up. You don't want to lock these down. You're going into plastic. You can easily strip it out. So let's unfold that and put that leg back over. So there we go. Okay, so we're good to go. It's nice and straight. Everything lined up perfectly. You want to make sure you see your pin right here in the top. So that way you know you're not going to pop out that way. So now we just need to put the wires back. And I'm going to go underneath here like it was. See if I can get by it. I have to feed them that way by hand. Tweezers are really good to have here. So you want to go underneath that white part right there. And then you're going to come over top here. And then back under here, and I'll put some adhesive there when I'm done. Okay, and you can see it says B, Y, R, so that's black, yellow, red. Maybe you can't see that. There you go. And you already have solder on your wires. I had a person comment that I should be putting solder on my wires. They're already there. There's enough solder already on the board. This person also told me I should be putting new solder on my board and flux and all that. I've been doing this a long time. I don't need to do that. All I do is I dip my wires in the flux. Just like that. Let's pull them loose so I can work with it better. Now I got to get an angle that I can work with my tweezers and that you can see. So I'm going to go ahead and start up at this end with the black. Grab my soldering iron. Grab your wire. And then put it right where you're going to be soldering. You can bend the wire a little bit. You want that wire to kind of push down into it. This is the hard part because you don't want to hit your soldering iron on anything. You want a nice clean joint. There you go. So that's the black. Now we have the yellow. Let me get this red wire out. There we go. They don't give you a lot of wire to work with here. Puddled right up nicely. There we go. Let's get this red one out. Just enough wire to reach. Nice puddle. It's a nice clean solder joints. And then I'm going to route that wire, put on some of the white silicone, electrical silicone goop. But let's line all these guys back up the way they're supposed to be. Okay, so everything is where it needs to be, just like that. And like I said, I'll put the white silicone. I use electronic grade silicone, and I'll put it right there, and I'll put it on my solder joints. But First, I just want to see if this thing's going to power on. So let's first hook up the antenna and see if it's going to power on. And then I'll put it all back together so you can just see in reverse how to put it all back together. So you got to turn your pigtail to where it's going to easily touch where it goes. And this is hard to do where I can let you guys see it as well. So again, let's try the tweezers, and maybe I'll take a screwdriver. Try that way. You can usually press it right on with your finger, but I don't want to be in the way. New ones can be very difficult to get on. They'll be tight. You'll hear it snap. It's not going on. There. Easier with the finger now. So that's in place, and then it'll feed back up through here. And again, I have to replace that cable if I can get that part. Normally we would have the cable to plug back in. So we would be at like this, and you would take your tweezers and plug it in. And then you can take and put your top on, and the way that goes is you would slide it forward as you're pushing down right here to get these on. And then we put that screw back in place that I took out from the spot where you guys couldn't see it. Where's my screwdriver? There it is. So again, you want to make a magnetic set of screwdrivers. And it's down in here, so we're just going to carefully go down in there and get it screwed in place. And then we're going to put these two screws here in the back. And we'll put our cover on. I also have to put these back. These go, these go up underneath, underneath here. So looking at that screw, it's all scratched. These had to have been removed and were just laying in there. So when he took it apart, it's something he probably didn't notice. But you just put it on and go around the sides, snap everything in place till all your gaps are closed up. Oops, sorry, hit the camera. All sealed up. All sealed up. Still don't like the way this is sitting. Something happened on this drone. I wish I knew the full story here. And then we just put in these 4 screws. And then one more step after we put these screws in. There would actually be 2 more steps after putting these screws in. One would be starting it up and just showing you that we got the correct rotation and everything's working fine. But in this case, that is not happening. The purpose of this video is just show you how to replace the legs and how simple it is, but a good lesson that you should be very careful with those cables. So the next thing you would be doing is taking your old leg, getting your props off, putting them on the new one. Don't lock them down so tight that you break the screws. You see a lot of that. I see a lot of that in these Facebook groups where people crank down on these screws and snap them in half. Snug it up good, that's all. Before each flight, check them. Never crank on them. So hopefully this is something that helped you guys out, and as you can see, it was quick and simple other than the problems I found. And if you're new to my channel, first off, hit that thumbs up. But if you're new to my channel, hit that subscribe button for more videos like this and my live stream events, giveaways, blah, blah, blah. And as always, hit that bell for future notifications, and we'll catch you on the next one. Peace and love.